Just 2 months after round 3 of the Victorian Championship, Formula V was back at the 3.1 kilometre Sandown International Raceway in Melbourne, this time for the second round of the National Formula V Championship, also serving as round 4 of the Victorian Series. After dry running on Friday, both qualifying and the first race were affected by varying levels of water. Qualifying was held in tricky conditions after a brief rain shower, and it was Stephen Jones who came out on top with a 1 minute 34.31 second lap, just 1/100th of a second ahead of Daniel Reinhardt. The heavens had opened just before race 1 was scheduled to begin, and heavy rain delayed the start as the track was left to drain. Pole sitter Jones accidentally bumped the ignition switch off the line, and Reinhardt took an early advantage before spinning and losing a few positions coming out of the final corner. But Jones was also in trouble. A spin into the mud left him at the back of the field and facing the task of fighting back to the pointy end. Ultimately, it was local Matthew Stubbs who came out on top in the atrocious conditions in his Beecham Sabre, ahead of New South Welshman Ben Porter and Tasmania's Kieran Glover, with Brandon Taylor taking the honours in the 1200 class ahead of Matthew Pearce and Andrew Griffiths-James. The remaining 3 races took place on Sunday and in mostly dry conditions. Matthew Stubbs started from the front for race 2 by virtue of his victory in the first race, but slipped to the rear of the field following a first corner collision. Unfortunately, a separate start line incident necessitated the deployment of the safety car as the debris was cleared. At the restart, Michael Kinsella passed 4 cars to take the lead, but by the fall of the checkered flag, JRD's Daniel Reinhardt had made his way to the front and held on to take the victory. Brandon Taylor was once again first across the line for the 1200s, again chased hard to the line by Matthew Pearce. As the massive field worked its way through the opening turns for race 3, several drivers were eliminated in another first corner incident. With the safety car out, Reinhardt held on to his lead until after the restart, when he accidentally switched the car off coming out of turn 9. By the end of the race, he'd done enough to catch the leaders again, but Ben Porter held on to record his first victory of the weekend after the scheduled 10 laps. This time Matthew Pearce leapfrogging Taylor for the 1200 to take his first victory of the round. The fourth and final race of the weekend was held late in the afternoon, with strong winds affecting the straight line performance of the cars and increasing the slipstream effect. Porter once again managed to come away with the race win despite strong competition from several drivers including Michael Kinsella, Daniel Reinhardt, Dylan Thomas and Stephen Jones, with Matthew Stubbs catching the leaders rapidly and Pearce triumphing once more in the 1200s. Formula V moves on to Malala in South Australia for round 3 of the National Championship in just under a month's time, with the next round of the Victorian Series scheduled for late October. If you would like to race in Formula V yourself, you can find all the details about entry and running costs over at fvee.org.au.